Types of animal feeds. Like all other living things, animals need to feed. Feeding animals makes them healthy and strong. Animal production and the quality of their products depends on the animal's health and strength. Traditional farmers mainly rely on pasture, while industrial livestock producers rely on grain-based feeds. Feeds given to animals depend on the availability. For example, during the rainy seasons, grass is plentiful. There are three main types of animal feeds, which are pasture, fodder crops, commercial feeds or concentrates. Pasture. Pasture is an area of land set aside for growing grass or a mixture of grass and legumes. Pasture may also refer to any land covered with grass and other low plants suitable for grazing animals, especially cattle and sheep. The animals can feed directly from the pasture. The pasture can also be harvested by cutting or uprooting and then be fed to the livestock. Fodder crops. Fodder crops are crops grown primarily for the purpose of feeding livestock. Fodder refers particularly to food given to the animals which is cut and taken to them, rather than that they forage for themselves. Fodder crops may either be permanent or temporary, where they are cultivated and harvested like any other crop. Examples of fodder crops are Napier grass, lucerne, star grass, sweet potato vines, Nondicetaria, Marquame grass, Savannah grass, Kikuyu grass, Rhodes grass. Commercial feeds or concentrates. Commercial animal feeds are bought from shops and are used to supplement fodder crops and pasture. Some common commercial feeds are bran, maize germ, daily meal, pollard. During commercial production of animal feeds, concentrates are added to the feed. Concentrates are substances that make the feeds more nutritious. Some types of concentrates include the following. Bone meal. It is obtained by crushing bones. Bone meal adds calcium to the commercial feed. Calcium is needed in the formation of strong bones and teeth in animals. Fish meal. Fish meal is obtained from small fish which are ground to form flour. Fish meal adds oils, calcium, proteins and vitamins to animal feeds. Sunflower seeds. The seeds are ground into flour. The seeds provide oils, proteins and vitamins. Salt licks. Salt licks provide mineral salts and vitamins to the animals. Methods of grazing. There are different types of grazing and the main ones are rotational grazing, zero grazing, herding. Rotational grazing. In rotational grazing, the pasture is divided into several parts. The animals in the farm are allowed to feed on a part of the pasture for some time. The animals are then moved to the next pasture where they continue feeding on the new pasture. This is done regularly such that By the time the animals get back to the part of the pasture where they started, the pasture will have regrown. Rotational grazing can be done by strip grazing, paddocking, tethering. Strip grazing. This is done by allowing animals to graze at a restricted portion of pasture for a time. After a given time, the animals are then moved to the next portion or strip. The grazing strips of pasture are separated using temporary fences. Paddocking. A paddock is a small fenced field where animals are kept and are allowed to graze. In the paddocks, watering points should be put for the animals to access water easily. Tethering. Tethering is the tying of an animal to a post or a peg using a long rope. The rope allows the animal to feed within a restricted area in the pasture. The animal is then moved to another portion which has fresh pasture. Tethering can only be used where a few animals are to be grazed. Zero grazing. Zero grazing is a system where the cows do not go out to pasture at all and spend their entire lives in sheds. Zero grazing is also known as stall feeding, where fodder, pasture grasses and commercial feeds are fed to the animals in the stalls. The stall should have the following: feeding trough, water trough, sleeping area. Zero grazing sheds for dairy cattle should also have a milking area. Herding. Herding is a method of bringing animals together in a group and moving them from place to place. Herding of animals require large tracts of land as animals are allowed to move freely without restriction. When herding, it should be ensured that animals do not get lost or destroy people's crops. Constituents of a balanced diet for animals. An animal's diet must contain the essential nutrients in the right amounts for maximum profits. Livestock should be fed on a balanced diet with the required nutrients for the following reasons: proper growth, maximum production, protection against diseases. A balanced diet is essential for proper growth and development of animals as it ensures the animals reach maturity at the right time. For animals to give good yields of meat, milk, wool and other products, they require energy which is provided by what the animal feeds on. A healthy animal is able to fight off disease as it has a better and strong immune system compared to a weak animal. A balanced diet usually contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oils, minerals, vitamins, water. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are required in large amounts by the body for energy production. The constituents are maize germ, wheat bran, rice husks, grasses, molasses, honey. Proteins. The protein constituents in an animal's diet are fish meal, legumes, mineral salts. Mineral salts constituents include salt licks, bone meal, fish meal. Vitamins. Vitamins in an animal's diet include green folder, fruits, water. Water is a very important component in the body as all body systems cannot function without water. Water in animal feed constituent is mainly found in green fodder, water, succulents like banana stem. Thank you for watching this lesson. We hope you now understand the types of animal feeds, grazing methods and constituents of a balanced diet for animals. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and other Genius channels relevant to your level of study.